Good afternoon. Good afternoon and happy Friday. Good afternoon, happy Friday. I am delighted to come and share with you today. All right. I even poured myself a glass of champagne. So cheers. Cheers to us. Cheers to Friday. Cheers to being here. Cheers to life. Cheers to a beautiful day to be out in the garden. So happy Friday. Thanks for coming to hang out with me. I would love to say hello to you. So if you are catching me for the first time ever going live, come say hello. Let me know that you're here. I'd love to say hi to you. And if we have chatted before and have been connected for 10 years or 5 years or 2 months, I would love to come say hi to you as well. So come say hello. Hey, Erin, welcome. Hello, Jen. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I am excited to chat with you today. This is something that, man, let me just tell you. Let me grab my book. 1 second. For years, the mainstay, a giant chunk of my business for the last 11 and a half years has been talking about choice. It's been talking about choice and recognizing, and in a nutshell, the first lesson in the book and the first lesson number 1 that I have talked about for years when I speak. It's not the only thing I've spoken about in the last 11 and a half years, but it's one of the main things that a lot of places that I've done presentations for, it's one of the main things they know me for, is talking about choice. A few years ago when I did a program, 40 days program, one of the things we did in there was daily choice. Like, what's your choice? I think we even had a theme in here about choice. So I've talked about choice. Choice is huge. And years ago, when it first came into my life, it came in during what is now known as my board breaking story. And at the time, recognizing that I could think differently about myself and using that, what is it called? Spoiler alert. So spoiler alert, if you haven't heard that story. Using that choice to then break my board, which led to changing my life. And it became a mainstay. It became one of my biggest lessons, one of my most talked about lessons, one of the most asked about lessons for me to share with other people was choice. And the main premise of it is that we get to decide. We get to make a choice. It's up to us. We can choose something different. No one is stopping us from what we're thinking. We always have, we get freedom over our thoughts, right? And with everything that I'm doing, I'm in the midst of a few different trainings within human design, and I'm digging in and I'm exploring and leading it and teaching it and sharing and coaching others and doing readings, and it's a wonderful and amazing thing. Cheers. And yesterday, during one of my trainings, the concept of choice was given to me differently. And it made me immediately, my mind was blown immediately. And since then, I've been pondering it, leaning into it, curious about it. So here's what I'm going to say about this. Now, Jen, when you shared the other day about how your life has been changing and things have been shifting for you since understanding human design, I thought of you immediately. And what's really fascinating about this is that you commented, and your comment to me coming live today was leaning into the same thing, which I love. I love that you're making those connections. Hello, Barb. I can't see. Oh, it's a wave. Hello. Wave back. So I love that you are making that connection. So I'm not going to say that choice is out the window, because to me that feels like it's like, then why even bother? Unless we're awakened or unless we're on our human design journey, then we don't have to bother. It's almost like it gives us this excuse not to do it. But what I have come to understand and what was given to me is this idea that, so we spent 3 days together focusing on our centers, right? We focused on each center, going through each center in the masterclass Your Body Talks. And those replays are still available. So if you haven't taken the time to watch those, I encourage you to watch them. They're each about an hour long. And then we'll be coming together next Tuesday, on Tuesday the 6th. April 6th, I believe, is our date. Yep, Tuesday, April 6th, we'll be coming together for a Q&A. And you can message me your questions or comment with whatever questions you want regarding those videos or any other topic within human design. I'm happy to answer anything that you bring to the table during that Q&A, or send me a message and I'll make sure I include it. So the masterclass is still available. In the masterclass, we talked all about your centers. We talked about the definition and what undefined and what defined means, and how if you are undefined in any of the centers, the understanding for each of those centers, like getting to know each center and what each center means and what each center stands for, is really important, because then you can see how, whether you're defined or undefined, how that is showing up and impacting your life. If it's undefined, the understanding then is that we are going out to get other people's energy from their definition of that center, and we take it in, and not only do we take it in from them, but we amplify it. So if one of the easiest ones is to go back to the emotional solar plexus. And if it's defined for you, this means that your emotions are pretty fixed. They're yours. You will have your own wave that you need to move through. It's normal and natural for you to have the ups and the downs and the wave. And it will be pretty steady. If you are undefined in the emotional solar plexus, but you are around someone with definition in it, then what does that mean? If we apply the basic premise to it, it means that you don't have access to consistent fixed emotions all the time, and that when you're around someone that's defined, you will naturally take on their emotions and amplify it, right? So that's kind of the breakdown of the undefined and the defined in the chart. And each center varies. So all of that is in the masterclass. So check that out if you haven't yet. What we want to talk about today, or what I want to bring forward today, is this idea that we have a lot of wisdom in our undefined areas, whether it's centers or gates or both. There is a lot of wisdom that we can gain from them. And a lot of people see their undefined as a weakness rather than an incredible strength. And I see both the definition and the undefined. I see all of it as neutral. It's not good, it's not bad, it's our perspective on it, right? Just like everything in life, it's not good or bad, it's our perspective on it. And one of the things that I've talked about in the past and will bring forward as we go forward is this idea of letting things come to you, and rather than just absorbing them, even when I share stuff with you, rather than just absorbing them and taking them on, what if you let them stop here and you tune in and see how it connects to you? How does it land for you? Do you want to take that on or do you not? So it's not good, it's not bad, it just is. It's our prescription of it. It's how we prescribe it that makes it one or the other. So more definition isn't better, less definition isn't better, and vice versa. It's not one is better than the other, it just is. This is your chart, and remember, your chart was gifted to you by your creator, and our creator doesn't make any mistakes. So there is wisdom in our undefined centers, And one of the greatest things that it gives us is this potential to put ourselves in someone else's shoes, right? And especially our reflectors. Like our reflectors, sweet Erin and Bridget, and anyone else in this space that's a reflector. I think Joanna might be a reflector. We might have 3 reflectors now in our space. Isn't that incredible? If you're a reflector and I didn't mention you, please come forward and let me see you. So our reflectors have the potential for a ton of wisdom, a ton of opportunity to put themselves in someone else's shoes. We all have that opportunity within our undefined, where we have white in our chart. The challenge with this. So yes, it's a great opportunity. Again, it's not good, it's not bad. We can find both, and it's just what are we choosing to lean into. So there's that word choice again. The challenge with having undefined centers or undefined gates even is that we can get so caught up in the experience of the other, because remember, what do? It's their, let's go back to the solar plexus, it's their emotion, but when we are with them, not only do we feel it, but we what? We amplify it. We make it even bigger than it was. So if someone has, we can look at one of the other centers for someone that has a sacral defined and then someone with an undefined sacral, we can tap into that energy, because as an undefined sacral, I can tap into my generator and manifesting generator friends. I can tap into their sacral. I can borrow that energy. I can use it like a boost of rocket fuel. I will amplify it. I will have more energy than my generators and my manifesting generator friends. But what happens, or the emotions, I can take that emotion. I'm also an undefined solar plexus, so I can take that emotion and ramp it up and amplify it. And then what ends up happening if we continue to identify with these things more deeply than our own definition? What happens? By default, because we're amplifying it, it will feel more like it's ours. We will attach, potentially, we can attach more deeply to it because we're in it so deep, because we're so attached to it, we're amplifying it, we're experiencing it more than the person with the definition in that center. So we attach to it even more deeply, and that can cause a warped story of ourselves within us. Now, I don't know how that lands for you. For me, that lands really powerfully, because I can see very clearly where I've attached to the undefined in my chart, and I've attached to the amplification of it and was convinced that it's mine. Let's take the head center. 70% of the population has the head center, the crown, undefined. Yet all of us think that we are supposed to be making decisions from our head center, from our crown. We're supposed to think through our decisions, right? That's just, we've all done that. There's only about, it's less than 10% of the population. I need to find the actual percentage. I think it's 3 to 4% of the population that it's correct for them to make decisions from their head, and those are mental projectors, because they only have definition above their throat, and it's correct for them because they are mental projectors. So it's correct for them to make decisions from their head. But the rest of us take that in, we amplify it. If you're undefined, you amplify it. 70% of the population is taking this in and amplifying it and thinking that we need to make thinking decisions. And what does that do? All of that thinking with an undefined head or crown can lead to us having this warped story, this warped sense of self, because it's not who we truly are. The gift of human design is that once we understand who we truly are, we can make a choice from that knowing. So it's possible, and here's why I wanted to talk about choice. It's possible that the majority of the people that we know, because they don't know human design, because they aren't living their human design, feel like they have no choice. Because if they're living from their amplification, they're living from conditioning, their conditioned self, they're living from something that isn't actually theirs. And not only are they living from something that's not actually theirs, but they're living from it in an amplified way. So they're super attached to a story that isn't even them. Let me grab this comment. Barb says, I can see where I have amplified emotions and pressures to get things done. Yes. Yep, and you would, having an undefined root, having an undefined solar plexus. Solar plexus. I didn't know if I said that wrong at first. Yeah, it's kind of incredible. So that creates this story within us. So Barb, if we dig into that just for a moment, we can see how that one statement you made, we can see how that would then, we can create a story about ourselves. And the story is going to be completely false. It's going to be totally untrue. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this story could be, I can never get things done on time. Why do I always feel this way? What's wrong with me? Why this pressure? Like, why can't I handle this pressure? And we can lean into that warped story. And then as we lean into that, we feel like we don't have a choice. So here I am, someone preaching about choice for all of these years. And for some people it lands, for some people it doesn't. And while it's not necessarily exactly the same thing, it's possible that not having the education, the understanding about your own unique design, that you're sitting here like, Jen, seriously? Like, you have no idea how I'm feeling right now. You have no idea what I'm going through, while this person is attaching to that amplification. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that incredible? And I feel like this is one of the reasons, and there are many reasons, but I feel like this is one of the reasons why it's so important for each of us to understand our own design. And then if we want to take it to the next step, to start understanding the design of those we love the most, the design of those that we are around the most, the design of those that we work with the most. Because if we understand those things, we can start to unravel the story that we've designed and created for ourselves, the story that we've designed and created for someone else. I mean, is it possible that the person that is, if you have a defined spleen, remember, is all about survival, it's all about instinct, it's all about fear. So depending how you're showing up with a defined spleen, you have someone else maybe with an undefined spleen that's in your life, and they are incredibly fearful. They can't really maybe speak to it, but they live from such a heightened sense of fear. Is it possible, if we have an understanding of them and they have an understanding, is it possible that that can change? Yes, because then they can look at it and start asking those questions that we've been talking about. Is this actually mine? Is this mine? And here's the quick test, the quick truth test. For anything that you're experiencing, you can ask the question, is that actually mine? Do I know where it came from? If you can't answer where it came from, it's probably not yours. It's probably not yours. And if it's probably not yours, then let's drop in choice, because then you can choose differently. You can choose to attach to it. Certainly, that's your choice. You can choose to let it go. You can choose to see if there's something in there for you to grab. Like, is there a reason I'm totally identifying with and allowing myself to be grabbed into this so deeply? And sometimes maybe, yes, so that we can ride that wave with them. Is that a wave that you want to be riding? Maybe, maybe not. But that's where we can infuse choice. And it gives us this chance then to create a life with stories that are our truths. And when we create that, when we create our life from our truth, everything changes, because it's not this warped sense of stories anymore. Barb says, I'm defined spleen and my husband isn't. I will be more mindful of fearful vibes I'm sending his way. Well, Barb, good news, my dear. Our conversation we're going to have tomorrow is going to talk all about that. So I'm very excited about tomorrow's conversation. So how does that feel? Does that land for you? How does it feel? I don't like that question anymore. If you are a generator or a manifesting generator, I will ask you it this way. Does that land for you? Because that gives you a yes/no question. If you are a reflector, we'll just go, sweet Erin, Bridget, Joanna, we'll just you don't have to get back to me in 28 days. We'll just let it land. It can just kind of be with you and see how that lands for you. A manifester, if we have a manifester watching, hello, Miss Bridget, nice to have you here. If a manifester is watching, I might say to you, instead of how does this land for you, because a manifester, that question is nope. For a manifester, it would just be, let me think, how would I say this for a manifester instead? I'm just sharing this information with you. I'm just sharing this information with you. You don't have to do anything with it. If you're a manifester, you don't have to do anything with it. I'm just sharing this information with you. Barb says yes. Jen says yes. Both of the manifesting generator vibes. So it's interesting how we can start navigating those conversations in a way that honors our story, in a way that honors our personal human design. So a couple final thoughts on this. If you haven't watched the 3-day masterclass, go check that out. It'll give you more information around the centers, and then we can tie this all together and then bring your questions forward. Tuesday, we're going to do a Q&A. In the meantime, come in this space, share your experience. What are you feeling? How is your HD journey going? Are there things that you would love to have more support around, more understanding around? Because we're going to be creating all of the things to support you on this HD journey. So thank you so much for joining, participating, and recognize that this choice, this idea of choice, is so much easier when we couple it with the understanding of our chart. And if we get frustrated, let's say we understand our chart and we start getting frustrated on someone else and they don't know their chart, it's not our job to force their chart on them. I never believe that it's our job to force someone into understanding their chart. If they are not interested in that, that's not our job to force them. We can invite them. You might find out what type they are, and we can have a conversation, how to lean into that conversation with them, but we don't force this on them. My firm belief is we be the example. We lead our lives the way that we want to lead it, and through that example, it will bring other people forward that are interested in exploring more. All right, thank you so much for joining me. Happy Friday. Get out there. If you're in our area, if you're in Minnesota and you are privy to the beautiful sun right now, make sure you get out in that sun. And wherever else you are in this beautiful big world of ours, I send you all the love. Have an awesome day. We'll talk soon. Take care. Bye, everyone.